High class, we have the 23rd lesson for algebra. This is the second one we are solving, wherein specifically we are to use completing the square method. Completing the square method. Using completing the square method, find the values of t. If t squared plus 60 plus 2 equal to 0, t squared plus 60 plus 2 equal to 0. Solving a quadratic equation using completing the square method, there are two things primarily you must consider. One, we only need two terms to complete a square. Always, we need two terms. A squared term, for example, x squared minus 5x, whether the squared term is having a coefficient other than 1 or not. For example, it could be 5x squared plus 2x, no problem. To complete the square, we always need two terms. We don't need three. We always need two terms. A squared term and term in x. Squared term and term in x. Squared term, term in t. So that tells you that if we have 1, 2, 3 terms, of which to complete the square, we only need two terms. So this term, the constant term, we move it. Because in completing the square, we only need two terms. So we say t squared plus 60 equal to, this goes to the other side. Why we decided to move it? Because we only need two terms to complete the square. We don't need a constant term. All right. So what is the next thing again? The next thing is that the coefficient of the squared term must be 1. So we are lucky here enough that the coefficient of the square term is already 1. So we don't have anything else to do. Let us assume that it is not 1. Let us assume we have this one. The coefficient of the square term is not 1. What do we do? Well, the particular value that is there is what we use to divide every term. 5, 5, 5. So x squared plus 2 over 5x equal to 1 over 5. See, because it is a must for the coefficient of the square term to be 1 for us to complete the square. So here we are lucky enough that it is already 1. So what is the next step? The next step is that if it is an expression or an equation in x, ask yourself the term in x. If it's an expression or equation in t, ask yourself what is the term in t. Not t squared, but t. Not the constant term, but t. So the coefficient of t is what? Is 6. The coefficient of t is what? Is 6. So what do? Half of that number. After making sure that here is 1, you cannot have like 3t squared plus 6t equals to 2. Straight away and say the coefficient of t is 6. So what is half of 6 is 3. No. You have to make sure that here is 1. Having made sure that here is 1, then you can further say what? The coefficient of t, the coefficient of x. It depends the variable being used. So what is the coefficient of t? Is 6. So what is half of 6? So it's like half of 6. What is half of 6? Is 3. I hope it is clear. So usually for beginners, because beginners always want a normal routine. Yeah, a routine that they'll be using all the time. So what usually we do is the coefficient of t is 6. So it's 6. So we say times half, then we square everything. Multiplying by half is always all the time. Squaring is always all the time. So this gives us 2 into 6 is 3. So this is the 3 I was mentioning. Then there is a square. I know you are aware that 3 squared is 9, but because of the procedure, we don't write the 9, we reserve it for the following steps. So what is the next thing we do? This is t squared plus 60. I leave a space equal to minus 2. Why I leave the space? see what we have to do now. Now this 3 squared is what we add on both sides. We add it here, 3 squared. We add it here, 3 squared. So 1, 2, 3 times, 1, 2, 3 times will now give us a bracket of 2 times. How do we get that? This is t, this is 3, but the sign is plus. So this is what we have. The question you want to ask now is that, what about this 60? This 60 is part of this system. If we expand this bracket, it will give you 1, 2, 3. Now let's see, t plus 3 squared, t plus 3 squared. What is 4 squared? 4 squared is 4 times 4. What is bracket squared? Bracket squared is bracket times bracket. Yeah, that if you don't know the shortcut this way. So this times this t squared, this 3t, this 3t, this 9 or 3 squared. So what is 3t plus 3t is 6t. So you have t squared, 6t. What is 9? 9 is the same as 3 squared. So just take this base here, take this base here. But sometimes you will have something like this. If you have something like this, always take the inner sign is the one you consider and say what? Minus 3. That's what we do. But because this one is plus, then it's the reason we use what? The plus. So we continue. Here is minus 2. What is 3 squared? Is 9. Okay. So we say t plus 3 squared equal to minus 2 plus 9 is 7. So this now we can consider when we usually say a squared is equal to 4. Yeah, we ignore this square, then we take the square root of the other side. So here again, we ignore this square, and take the square root of the other side. So we say plus or minus because of what we are expecting two values. Quadratic equation, we are expecting two values here. So now we say t is equal to plus or minus root 7. We'll move this to the other side, minus 3. So this one, plus or minus root 7 means there are two cases. We have the plus, we have the minus. So let us use one at a time. So we'll start with plus root 7 minus 3. Or now we start with the minus root 7 minus 3. So if the question is saying leaving your answers in short form, these are the answers. If you want the how do I call it, the decimal, then, or maybe the question will say leaving your answer what, to 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, 4 significant figures to the nearest 100, something like that. Then you'll have to send them to decimal. Okay, we'll send them to decimal. You just enter everything. For example, root 7 minus 3, root 7 minus 3, can see it, then minus 0.35 minus, so t is equal to minus 0.35, or then now we need here, here, what do we need there? We need here a minus sign. So just inserting the minus, then of course we can have minus root 7 minus 3. So what do we have? Minus 5.65, minus 5.65 approximately. So this is what we have for today. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to follow, like, share, and comment. See you in my next video.